Hey guys, it's Joe, and in this video I'm going to show you quite an interesting reverb technique to help fill out some high end a bit, and that is to actually pitch shift the reverb. Now the reason we do this is because, if you've ever heard reverb in a natural setting or in like a tunnel or something, sometimes the sounds that you hear or that you make are a different pitch, most of the time a higher pitch, than what they originally were. And we can kind of recreate that in Logic here. So this works really well on kind of like background sounds, and some lead sounds are really nice. I wouldn't put it on everything, otherwise then it sounds really fake, to be honest. But I like it on like synths and even guitars. It can sound really quite nice. I don't use it on drums or bass or anything like that. It just adds a nice layer to sounds. So what I've done is I've just added a bus to this sound here. I'll show you the sound I've been putting it on. So it's just kind of a layered, if this itself is already a layered sound, and I'm going to add another layer to this, just kind of backing up my chords. And what I've done is I've put another bus onto this reverb, a separate bus to my original reverb channel. I'm going to copy the reverb that I've got on my reverb channel and put it on this bus like I've done here, and then put the pitch shifter underneath it. And for the pitch shift itself, I tend to just make it an octave higher. Do that so it keeps it tonal and sounding nice. But I'll just change the sense on it slightly to ever so slightly detune it, otherwise it does sound a bit synthetic and a bit fake, so it just kind of enhances that texture on it a bit more. And the mix I'll play around with. However, disclaimer, the Logic pitch shifter, as I'm sure you all know, is pretty crap, so the higher you go on the mix, to be honest, the worse it tends to sound, but this we'll play around with. So we're just going to solo it and we're going to start blending it in. Okay, so we can hear that reverb quite clearly now. Of course, we want to be careful we don't make it too muddy or anything like that. So we're just going to isolate the reverb itself and try and get a nice balance of it. So we can hear what that reverb's doing there. It's quite subtle, but that's all we want. Again, I'll show you what it sounds like when we push the mix up. Part of that is because the Logic pitch shift, as I said, is very good, and also you can hear we're actually losing some of that reverb itself with just pitch shifting the original sound, which kind of defeats the point. So I want to keep a blend of the two sounds. So I find that 20% works quite nicely for this one. For sense, it depends on what the sound is really. I found that 13 works quite nicely. We don't want to detune it too much, otherwise then it won't harmonize very well with our original sound or just sound a bit horrid. But if it's like plus or minus anywhere between like 10 and 20, then you're in a good spot. If you go into 50, then it's probably a bit too much. So of course, as I said, this is really quite a subtle layering technique, but you can really tell the difference if you just A and B it with the pitch shifter on and off. It's just helping to fill out that high end a little bit, which can be really, really useful. You of course want to try and blend this in with the mix itself as well. It all depends on how loud the reverb is. This sound that I've got here already has quite a lot of delay on it, so I have to be careful not to add too much reverb, otherwise it's going to get really messy really, really quickly. But for things like piano, it can be really nice, but you just kind of need to play around with that balance. I hope you found this video useful, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment or contact me via my website. Thanks a lot for watching. Cheers.